Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the committee for having us tonight. Sorry about the train schedule. We didn't realize that we would be following the doggy divorce conversation and that might take as much time. My name is Kate McGill. I'm a professor at Brooklyn Law School in New York. I also am here in my capacity as the lead attorney for the American Bar Association Survivor Reentry Project, which is a project of the Commission on Domestic and Sexual Violence. The Survivor Reentry Project looks at survivors of human trafficking that have criminal records across the country because of their victimization, either in the commercial sex industry or in other labor sectors, and looks at state law in this area, Rhode Island being one of the states that actually offers relief for survivors of human trafficking with criminal records, to see how we can improve the process for survivors of human trafficking that have criminal records. Over the last decade, I have represented well over 1,000 people who have been arrested for prostitution offenses in New York City. So I'm very familiar with how the policing of the commercial sex industry impacts people arrested for prostitution offenses, profiled as being involved in prostitutions, and survivors of human trafficking who are arrested. And so here tonight, like many other people who are going to speak after me, I am here to support House Bill 5354. And when Representative Williams said this is something that people don't want to talk about necessarily, I think the national landscape has really shifted on that. And what we're seeing across the country is a real interest and need in examining our laws that govern the commercial sex industry, because there is such overlap with issues of sexual violence, human trafficking, exploitation, and also marginalization of the communities that Representative Williams discussed, right? People of color, transgender individuals, people who have existed in poverty and are living in cycles of poverty. The very people that in so many other capacities and all the work that we do, we are trying to support and assist. This bill would allow Rhode Island to explore this issue pragmatically, would allow you to move forward with the proper foundation of data and information. We have started this conversation in so many states, and too often what you see are policymakers and lawmakers rushing to create policy without that information, and that can ultimately be very harmful, right? Tonight, even alone, in addition to talking about slippery slopes, we've talked about unintended consequences of laws. And that's something that we really have to think about when the stakes are as high as they are for people in the commercial sex industry who are facing arrest. So to me, when I was asked to take a look at this bill and to compare it to what's happening across the country, I was very happy to see that the approach was logical, it was cautious, it was reasonable, and it was a way to really get the information about what's happening on the ground before taking a position or thinking about law reform. Law reform is probably necessary in some way. Every state in the country is grappling with this right now. But what we know, particularly from looking at our work with criminal record relief for survivors of human trafficking, is that this is an area that's going to get scrutiny. Just last month, I co-authored a report with the Polaris Project, which is one of the most predominant national human trafficking organizations in this country, that graded all of the states on their criminal record relief laws for survivors of human trafficking. Rhode Island didn't fare very well, but don't worry, many states didn't. New York certainly didn't fare much better. But this is an area that has national attention and that we're going to continue to see receiving attention, so we need to be smart about it. And I believe that this bill is a smart approach. I'm happy to let my colleagues speak a little and take any questions also.